software on a Linux operating system. So here you can see an operating system window here. You can see that there is a machine with the name Wysheid 11G-R10. So we can get the information about the machine by giving the command uname-a. When you are giving the uname-a, you are getting a lot of information which is required for or which helps you to take a decision on the installation procedure. The first step is that the first information that you are getting is the operating system. It's a Linux operating system. Then you have the host name is there. Then you have the kernel of the operating system. For example, it is 2.6.18-164 EL5. This is a kernel. And then another important information is that whether this operating system is a 32-bit operating system or 64-bit operating system. So when you are seeing x86_64, which means this is a 64-bit operating system. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay. So once you're having that information with us, the next is that we need to download the software. So you can download the software from oracle.com website. Go to the downloads option. You will be getting an option like Oracle database. Just click on here, and then you will be able to get the information, the software information. You can see that there are softwares for Windows 32-bit, Windows 64-bit, Linux x86, that is 32-bit, Linux x86 64-bit, then Solaris 64-bit, Solaris x86 64-bit, HP Unix, HP for the RISC processor, AIX. So you can see that for all these versions or for all the different types of operating systems, you have the option to download the Oracle software. And then you can get another information here, that is Oracle Database 11G Release 2, Standard Edition 1, and the Enterprise Edition. So all these softwares is downloadable from the Oracle website. And apart from that, there are certain other additional softwares are available. For example, see the Linux x86 64-bit. You can see that there are file 1 and file 2, which means the almost 2 GB file. So the file 1 and file 2 consist of totally 2 GBs, and this is actually required for the Oracle RDBMS. But when you click on See All option, you will be able to get some additional components. For example, if you wanted to download Oracle client, you do have an option to download from here. Or else if you wanted to download another component known as the grid infrastructure, which is used for, say, for Oracle Real Application Cluster installation, you can download it from here. Or else if you wanted to get some web tier utilities, you can get it. Or else if you wanted to get gateways helps you in the communication between the other RDBMs. For example, you wanted to get the data from other RDBMs like, say, SQL Server. In that case, you can use the Oracle Gateway. Or else if you wanted to get some examples, you will be able to download the Oracle examples.zip file. Or else if you wanted to deinstall utility, then you can download the deinstallation utility. In the previous versions like Oracle 10G, the deinstallation utility was built in with the Oracle installer itself, Oracle Universal Installer itself. But in Oracle 11G, the deinstall utility is a separate product, a separate software component which you need to download separately. Okay, so using the Oracle download website with the basic information like what is the operating system you are having, what is the version that you are having, you can download the software from Oracle website. This software, whatever you are downloading, is for your learning, self-learning purpose. So if you wanted to utilize this one for your production environments, then you must contact the Oracle sales team and then discuss with them on the licensing fees, and then pay that amount, and then you will be getting a license code. With that, you will be getting access to Oracle software, the Oracle support site known as the Oracle My Support, or it's also known as a Metalink. you can you will be getting an access to you will be getting a customer ID known as customer CSI number, that customer identification number. So with that customer identification number, you will be able to create your accounts on Oracle support site. So if you wanted to create, or if you face some issues during your work with Oracle software, you need some expert advice or some solution, then you must raise a ticket known as a service request ticket with Oracle, and then when you're raising the service request, or that program will be asking for the customer identification number, and you have to provide it. That's true if you have some issue and then you wanted to apply some patches, then you can download the patches only from the Oracle support site. So which also means that only the bug fixing or the problem solutions are available only for the valid customers. The software which you download from the Oracle website directly is only for your trial purpose or for your self-learning purpose. Is that clear? Any questions?
No, I don't have. Me too. I don't have any questions.
Okay, good. Now, once you're having this one second. Once you're having this software available with you, the next option is that you need to have, say, you need a guide or the installation guide which will help you to further installation. Because in the internet, you will be seeing a lot of installation guides will be there. But you can say that all the installation guides, whatever it's available on the internet, is basically made from the installation guide provided by Oracle itself. So as a DBA, you should consider the Oracle installation guide, which is available with Oracle documentation, as the Bible. Okay. So how you can get? You can just go to the documentation tab here. When you go to the documentation tab, you will be able to get the documentation details for Oracle 11G release 2 as well as the release 1. And remember, we have downloaded the software for release 2. So just click on the release software. You will be getting or you will be guided to a link which contains a lot of more detailed documentation. So here you can see that installation and upgradation. Just click on here on the left side. You will be seeing the Linux installation guide. You can see on the left side there are several installation guides. Linux installation guide, Microsoft Windows, Solaris, HP, AX, etc. So based on our operating system, we wanted the Linux installation guide. So just click on here. Okay. Here you can see that you have the database quick installation guide for Linux x86, database quick installation guide for x86 64, and then a general guide for the Linux, and for the client installation guide for 64-bit as well as the 32-bit. And then you have the installation guide for the grid infrastructure, real application cluster. So that are the different products or different features. So let's see what is the installation guide says about the Linux x86 64-bit. So you have the two options, that is HTML and PDF is there. Just click on the HTML format. So here you have that several information like how to log into the system as a root user, or how to check the hardware requirement, how to check the software requirement, then creating the operating system users and groups, then configure the kernel parameter, creating the required directories, configuring the Oracle user environment. Like that, you can get all the required setups for the installation. So I would suggest is that you follow the steps. Say you may be some of the guys in here would have been already installed the Oracle on the Linux, or maybe somebody is new to it. So what I would suggest is that the first step what we should do is that you should go through this installation guide thoroughly. Okay, you must make sure that you know each and every steps there, because once you are having that, then this step will almost going to be remain same. Suppose if you are installing a higher version, say for example, maybe in the future, once you start going for the job, maybe Oracle comes up with the release 12. So at that time also, the basic steps are going to be the same thing. There must not be much differences, and that holds good if you wanted to install the 10G also. in both the cases, in all the previous versions, all the steps are going to be the same thing, almost same thing. So you must go through. You must have a clear idea about the prerequisite steps, the installation step, and the post-installation step as well. Okay. So let's go through the installation steps in detail. Okay. First thing, that is, you have to connect, say, the Oracle software installation on the Linux operating system requires two things basically. One is that you must have a root privilege or the super user privilege. The reason is that you must verify there are the memory requirements as well as the space requirements at the operating system level. And also, you need to create certain uses like Oracle software user and certain groups like Oracle software Oracle RDBMS owner group. And also, there are certain package requirements are there. You must verify whether the packages are already available. If not, you may have to install that packages. So, considering this all the things, you require the root privilege. Am I clear here?
Yeah.
Okay. Also, during the time of during the end of the installation, you may ask for running a script known as a root.sh, which also need to be executed as a root user. So most of the cases in the organizations, what happens is that when we raise a request or when you raise a ticket with our operating system team to get an operating system for this the Oracle software installation, they are all, most of them are very familiar with the basic requirements. So they will make sure that the server that is given to you is meeting all the basic requirements. Say there will not, most of the cases there will not be any constraint for the memory or constraint for the spaces. But if somebody is asking you what is the basic requirement, then you should be able to provide that one. And that's the reason we must go through this document very clearly. Okay. So coming over here, okay, now I am in a machine called Wysheid 11G R10, which we are considering for our Oracle software installation. So the first thing what we need is that we have to verify whether our system is going to meet the hardware requirement. Or let's go the step by step. The first step is that checking the hardware requirement. So the hardware requirement stands for the memory requirements, then the system requirement, as well as the disk space requirements. Okay. The memory requirement, as per the memory requirement, it is minimum memory required is 1 GB, and then system architecture should be either the 64-bit or 32-bit. We must verify that as well. And then the disk space requirement. Okay. So let's take the first step, the memory requirement. In Linux, the command to find out the memory information is grep memtotal from proc/meminfo. Okay, you can see that the memory available for this machine is almost 1.5 GB. As if, since you are not speaking, could you please mute? Yeah. So here, first step is the memory requirement. The second one is the swap area requirement. Swap area requirement is used for moving some data from the memory to the hard disk when the memory is not able to sufficiently hold the data. For example, say you have a system with 2 GB of memory, but you are reading some data, some files from the operating system, which is beyond the 2 GB of data. Say, for example, a 4 GB file. In that case, the operating system cannot hold that entire data in the memory. So, certain area it will store in a dedicated memory space, which is residing on the hard disk. That particular area is known as a swap area. So swap area is required whenever your memory requirements are not accurate. So basically, there is a thumb rule that is used for allocating the swap area. If your memory of your operating system is between 1 GB and 2 GB, then the swap area requirement will be 1.5 times of the RAM. For example, if you are having the 2 GB memory, in that case, your swap area should be somewhere around, say, it will be somewhere around 5 GB, say, or sorry, not 5 GB, so somewhere around 3 GB should be required. If just 1.5 into memory area, so 2 GB, that is 1.5 into 2, that is 3 GB. That should be the swap area required. If it is 2 GB to 16 GB, then the swap area should be equal to the memory. That means if you are having a system with 16 GB of memory, then or 14 GB of memory, then your swap area should be equal to the memory. So if your RAM is 14 GB, the memory, if the RAM is 14 GB, then the swap area required is also 14 GB. If RAM is 16 GB, the memory, the swap area memory requirement will be 16 GB. Anything, if your RAM is above 16 GB, the memory requirement for the swap area is 16 GB. That is means whether it's a 17 GB or 32 GB or 164 GB of RAM, the swap area requirement is 16 GB. But this is sufficiently good for the starting the installation. But later point of time, based on your swap requirement, you may have to increase more area for the swap. Am I clear here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So how you will be finding out the swap area? The command to find out the swap area will be grep swap total from meminfo. Okay. You can see that we have almost 3 GB is allocated for swap. The next requirement is that the kernel, the architecture requirement. You must have, it will be either 32-bit or 64-bit. Based on that, based on what architecture that you are having, you should download the software based on that way. For example, name hyphen.
Is it the swap area? Is it like a hard? Is it on the hard drive or how? What is it?
Yeah, yeah. When you are configuring your operating system, okay, you will be allocating the swap area.
Oh, okay.
Like during the time of the operating system installation, the disk whatever you are having will be divided into different area, different file systems basically, or mount points. At that time, we will be allocating the swap. Later point, you can increase the swap. There is a command to increase the swap. So at that time, you are allocating some space from your existing operating system or existing hard disk you are allocating.
Okay.
You got me?
Sure. Like kind of like a virtual memory.
Yeah, it's a kind of, virtual memory is a concept used on Windows operating system mostly. So the same thing concept is available on Linux operating system or Unix based operating system is known as swap.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now uname -m is indicating that whether it's a 64-bit or 32-bit. Anyway, we could get this information by the command uname -a in the initial stage. So it is a 64-bit, which means that you should download the Oracle software based on that, or you should download the Oracle RDBMS 64-bit RDBMS software. Okay. Okay. Now there is a new step on Oracle 11G. In Oracle 11G, a new feature is known as automatic memory management, which means you are giving a sum of memory to the Oracle RDBMS or Oracle database. In the Oracle database, there are different memory areas are there. Say, for example, shared pool, buffer pool, PGA are the different areas of the memory requirement for Oracle instance or Oracle database instance. So we have the two options. One is that we have the manual memory management. The second one is that automatic memory management. So if you are using the automatic memory management, you allocate a certain amount of memory to the database instance. Then how it is using internally, or what all the for what component, how much memory is giving, will be taken care by Oracle automatically. So that kind of memory management is known as the automatic memory management. Okay. So when you are using the automatic memory management, we are going to specify two configuration parameter. There is memory target and memory max target. These are the two configuration parameter. For this parameter, you will be telling that the memory target is 2 GB or memory target is 4 GB. So if you specify that value, then there should be an area at the operating system known as the shared memory area, or specified by shared memory area specified by /dev/shm. This size should be either equal to the memory target which you are specifying, or should be greater than the value what you are specifying. Am I clear here?
I have a question here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Where you will define those parameters?
This parameter is a configuration parameter. Like for the database instance, there is a parameter known as the system parameter file or init parameter file.
Okay.
Okay. So that is happens only when you're going to create a database. As of now, that doesn't have a significance.
Right.
So when you're going to create a database, you will be specifying that the memory target or the memory max target equal to this value. Okay. Once that you set up that value, then if you wanted to start up the instance, at that time this cross check is going to take place. Say you specify that memory target is equal to 2 GB. In that case, whether the 2 GB is higher or lesser than that of the shared memory area at the operating system level. If it is higher than that of the shared memory area of the operating system, then you will not be able to start up the instance. So the operating system level shared memory area should be higher than that of the memory target value that you are going to specify for any instance on the server. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's find out what is our shared memory area by giving the command df-h/dev/shm, which says that our shared memory area, it's also specified by tempfs, is 735 MB. In this case, you can go ahead with the memory target, but you cannot go beyond 735 MB. Is that clear? Okay. Now the disk space requirement.
So it's the physical memory we are allocating, right, for the Oracle software.
Physical memory. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
So let's say if we have like a 6 gig of memory, so we are trying to allocate for Oracle this much memory. Is that the main purpose of that thing?
No. Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, that is the purpose. For example, say you have 6 GB of the operating system memory is there. That is mean when you are giving the get mem total from proc mem info, you got the 6 GB.
Yeah.
But your client requirement is that your database should have 4 GB of memory.
Okay.
Now this 4 GB of the memory, there are two ways of managing it.
Okay.
Okay. One is that for the different memory components, like say shared memory, buffer pool, private global area or PGA. These are the different memory areas inside a Oracle database.
Okay.
Okay. So you have the two options. One is that you can allocate this one. Say for example, shared pool got 1 GB, buffer pool got 2 GB, PGA got 1 GB. This is a manual allocation.
Okay.
Okay. You can do this one. At that time, this value doesn't have a significance.
Okay.
Okay. But the next one is that you don't have a you don't want it to manage it manually every time. Rather, you are telling Oracle this is the allocated memory for you. You manage the internal components memory requirement as per the runtime.
Okay.
You got me? At that time, we will tell that memory underscore target is equal to 4 GB.
Okay.
The rest will not be the internal or the subcomponents will not. We are not going to specify.
Okay.
In that case, your the memory target should not be higher than the shared memory area at the operating system level. So which means if you wanted to allocate more memory to the database instance, in that case you should first change the shared memory allocation at the operating system to the higher value.
Okay.
You got me?
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I mean, actually, it's if we actually do it, see while you're doing or something, it makes more sense. But theoretically, it makes a little sense.
No, I didn't get you. Come again?
Theoretically, it makes a little sense, but when we actually see how we are doing that in the actual Linux operating system, that gives more.
No, you mean to say that when you are creating the database instance, you will be able to understand it more clearly, or that's what you're meaning?
Yeah.
Okay. No, we are coming to the database instance, because why I'm giving the more stress here is that, or the prerequisite check is that, say database instance, once you're coming to the installation procedure, you will understand that the database creation is not a complex task, or the RDBM software is not a big deal. You are going to start up installer screen, and you are just proceeding with the next.
Okay.
Okay. That's the reason everyone will tell in Windows installing the Linux, installing Oracle on the Windows is very easy. It's just to click next, and you will finish.
Yeah.
So the reason is that Windows is already configured with all these things.
Okay.
You don't have to do it.
Yeah.
But in the case of Linux operating system, people will fail on this one because these checks are not being done.
Okay.
And then face the issues, and then try to troubleshoot at when the actual issues come.
Okay.
You got me? So once you go through these steps cleanly, then you will do an installation without any failure.
Okay.
Fine? Okay. So that is done. The next one is that the space requirement. So the installation guide says that the space requirement for the software installation on the temp folder, that is a temporary folder, you should have at least 1 GB free. The second condition is that if you are going with the enterprise edition, you must have 4.35 GB of the space for the software only. Okay. If you are going with the standard edition, you must have 4.22 GB. And then if you are going to create a dummy database, then for the enterprise edition, you must require 1.7 GB, and for the standard edition, you require 1.5 GB. So in nutshell, if you are going with an enterprise RDBMS installation with a dummy database, your total space requirement will be 4.3.5 plus 1.7 on the location where you wanted the RDBM software to be available. Then 1 GB for your temp area. Fine. So let's see how much is the space available. df-h/temp. Okay. You can see that the temp area which is configured under the mount point root is almost 70 GB free available. Okay. The same. So here there is only one mount point is there. So we are going to create everything under that root mount point. So the RDBM space requirement is 4.7 GB plus the database space requirement is 1.7. So we do have sufficient space. The total space requirement from the installation perspective is somewhere around 8 GB. We have 17 GB free available. So we are good from the space requirement. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Now coming to the next one, the software requirement. This is the place where most of the installations will fail, or most of the installation will have trouble. First thing is that you must verify whether your operating system is certified for the Linux, for Oracle RDBMS 11G release 2. Okay. So which are the operating systems are certified? You have the list of the operating systems certified here. So here says that the following or later versions of the operating systems are required for Oracle Database 11G Release 2. For example, if you are using Oracle Linux 4, then it should be either update 7 or above. Okay. Or if you are using Oracle Oracle Linux 5 with the Red Hat compatible kernel. It should be Oracle 5 or 5 update 2 or above. Or else if you are using the direct Oracle Linux kernel, it should be Oracle Linux 5 update 5 or above. Or if you are using Red Hat Linux, then it should be Red Hat Linux 5 and update 2. Or if you are using Red Hat Linux 4, it should be update 7 or above. So like this, you should verify what is your operating system's version. So how you will be, now you understood, okay, these are the operating systems. So how I will be knowing that exactly what is my operating system, what is the update available. So for that, you can just issue the command cat/etc/*release. This will hold good for your Linux operating system. So here you can see that it says that Red Hat Enterprise Linux 5.4, which means it is a Red Hat Linux 5 update 4. The basic requirement was that it is the Red Hat Linux update 5, Red Hat Linux 5 update 2 or above. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay, you can get the information from one more way, that is cat proc/version. Okay. Now the kernel requirement. So one is that operating system requirement, and the second is a kernel requirement. What is the kernel requirement? If you are using Red Hat, if you are using Oracle Linux update 2 or above, in that case the kernel should be 2.6.18 or above. So how you can find out? By giving the command uname -a is going to tell you that the kernel is 2.6.18-164. So which is matching with the requirement, that is either it should be 2.6.18 or above. Sir, clear? So based on here we have given check the kernel requirement only for Oracle Linux 5, because for other operating systems we have the kernel requirement is that you must verify based on what is operating system that you are having. You must verify and you must make sure that if that is the supported. If the kernel is not supported, I would suggest that better you change the operating system and start up the installation. Next is the package requirement. This area is very much important because this is the this area deals with the software requirement. In the operating system itself, there is a software requirement is there. Whether that software requirement is matching with that of the Oracle's requirement. For example, say if you are using the Oracle, if you are using the Linux 4 or Red Hat Linux 4, these are the RPMs or these are the software that has to be available. These software will get installed based on the components that you are selecting during the time of the operating system installation. Okay, so you must verify that these are there. If they are missing, then you must install them by using a utility known as RPM installer. With the RPM installer, you will be able to install the missing RPM. Mostly, this is not a DBA task. This has to be done by the operating system administrator. But before you proceed with the installation, you must verify that it meets all the requirement of all the packages available. Am I clear? So if you're looking Red Hat Linux 5, the requirement is this many software or this many packages should be available. Okay. So how you will be verifying that package is available? For example, say I wanted to verify that Systat 7.2. This is a requirement. So how I can verify whether it's available or not? By giving the command rpm -qa pipe grep -i -I stands for case insensitivity. And then give that package name. Okay. If the package is available, then it will result here. Okay. If you are not getting a package, so for example, I'm going to check for some other package. So it is not resulting in anything, which means that package is not available. In that way, you must verify all the packages available or not. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what if any of the package is not available? Then you must ask your system administrator to install that package. So basically, if the operating system CD is available here, in this case the operating system CD is not available, but if you are having the operating system CD available, then we will be able to install the RPM. So I'll just show you how to install an RPM. Okay. ls-l*.rpm. Let me check it. Let me check whether I can mount the operating system CD. Give me a minute. Yeah, I just mounted the operating system CD. So if the operating system, once the operating system CD is mounted, it will be available on /media. Then you can see that there is a folder with enterprise. Okay. Inside that, you will be seeing a directory called server, CD server. Okay. Inside this, you will be seeing a lot of RPMs. Okay. So, for example, we wanted to install this is say what is this? Yeah. You wanted to install the systat 7.0. Assuming that this is a missing. So how you can do that? Clear ls-l pipe grep, give this name. Okay, you can see that there is a file called systat 70.3el5 x8664.rpm. Now you can issue the command rpm-ibh, then that file name. Okay, now press the enter key. It will proceed with the installation. Okay, so now it gives an error message that this package is already installed because this is already available. That way you can install all the missing RPMs if you have the operating system CD. In case if you don't have the operating system CD, the only option is that you may have to download from the internet and use it. Just give me a sec.
What's that IVH stands for?
So this is the way that we will be installing all the packages. So make sure that you are installing all the packages, all the missing packages. Make sure that this check is coming as successful. For example, here there are certain other things also to be checked. There are certain areas where you have the 32-bit patch, 32-bit software as well as the 64 software. For example, say just check here. RPM-QA pipe grep. You can see that grep glibc 2.5-42. You can see the two entries because the installation requires both versions, that is 64-bit as well as the 32-bit versions are mandatory. So if any of the version, mostly when you are installing the 64-bit versions will get installed, but the 32-bit versions will be missing. So how you can get it? The same way, ls-l pipe grep Okay, you can see there are two versions. One is at x86-64, and then you can see that i686. i686 stands for 32-bit. So you must install both of the versions how we did earlier, like rpm-ivh, and make sure that it's matching. So matching the software requirement is very much important to have a successful installation. Okay. Yeah. So this is as per the different version. So once we are having, then the other thing is that some additional software requirement which it doesn't actually create any issues, so we can ignore. And ODB's database requirement is not there for the most of the Linux operating system, so we can ignore that as well. So once you are matching our operating system package installation, then that will be more than sufficient. Browser requirements and everything will be mostly supported by all the operating systems. So that all things are not going to really, and operating system browser requirement is only required when you are installing a components known as the database control. That's coming up with the database control part only, but which is supported by most of the basic browser which is available with the corresponding operating system. So that will not be creating any problem. The next one is that we need to create the users and the group that is required for the installation.